In a world where the it thing is always changing, sometimes you need a tour guide or two to help you find your way to pop culture's paradise. If you find yourself reminiscing or in need of a good recommendation, these two have you covered. And now, here's your hosts, Joey and Jeff.
Hey, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Joe.
Now, if you caught any of last week's show, you know that I sent Joe out on a double challenge. I challenged him to go to a wrestling event and also to find me a Jim Cornette figure. Joe, how did you fare?
The WWE was in town, so I saw them. And I tried to find this Jim Cornette figure. Unfortunately, I knew your autograph signing was on Sunday, so I couldn't just mail you out mine.
I wish.
He doesn't have a racket or anything. Did he come with a racket?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one did.
I decided I had to go see WWE Wrestling because I don't think I've seen it since I scored tickets from you when you worked at the radio station here.
Yeah.
And what a difference that time period makes, because the one I saw back then was right after the Shield broke up, and Dean basically spent every show trying to kill Seth Rollins. Seth Ambrose, that's their fan fiction name.
Yeah.
But what a difference, because they go from the house show where they try to kill each other to now they were in the tag team main event against Drew McIntyre and your favorite, somebody you want to walk with.
Elias?
I was actually going to say Dana Brooks, but no, it was
too.
Elias. All right, so everybody cheers him, and they kept being like, "Walk with Elias, walk with Elias," and they finished all his sentences. So I'm like, well, he's being a face, and that kind of drives me nuts because he's in the heel role.
Yeah.
It's that WWE stands for
Walk with Elias!
That's what WWE stands for
Walk with Elias!
Not that it really matters. I know people make huge deals about that, and I used to. But I'm kind of like, if you're a heel, be a heel. So then he busts out his song on the guitar, and he goes, well, I got here early, and I was walking around downtown, enjoying the old town. And everyone in the crowd is like, it's Old Port! Old Port!
I came in Portland earlier today, and I was walking around Old Town area. I went to DeMillo's.
You went to DeMillo's.
And they're like, Old Port! Old Port!
Okay, I'm hearing that it's actually called Old Park.
And he's like, excuse me, I must have got it wrong. Apparently it's Old Port. Shows how much I care about this city.
Boo! And they all just raid boos, didn't they?
That just shows how little I care about this city.
Oh yeah, and luckily, because my phone died at this point, so I was like, oh, I can't send Jeff his favorite wrestler right now. I can't send this video to you.
Yeah.
But B, I wanted to capture that part where he says, Old Town, Old Port, because I'm like, that's so Maine.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, my thing is that if you go to any show, somebody there has got their camera, and eventually, if you look up on YouTube the next day, you'll find somebody's version of this, so you don't have to waste your life ruining a concert or a wrestling event. Just find some other sucker who did it.
Yeah.
So I did find somebody online who has it. So when you get around to listening to this podcast or seeing the video version, there will be an example.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about the show, and I'm glad that I sent out this challenge, because I feel like you're now starting to get a little bit more interested than you have been in the past. Is that fair to say?
No, that's definitely fair to say. You know me, I lapse in and out. I keep tabs of it. I got this memory that doesn't forget any of this stuff from when I do remember it. But I don't want to be one of those people that gets so negative about the product. Then it's just just stop. You're not going to... You don't really have... You can say online what you'd want them to fix or what you think they can do better. And you may be perfectly logical. But at the end of the day... Does that make that much sense to spend your time doing? So there was another match on the card, and you can already guess what my reaction was, how I felt about it. So the Revival faced the B team. Who do you think won?
Judging by the tone in your voice right there, I'm gonna say the B team won.
Yeah. And it's like, I could go on one of those internet rants that's
Yeah.
about how they ruin every single thing that NXT does awesomely, and then they just ruin it when they come to the main roster. But really, who wants to hear another person complaining about the burying of the Revival?
But let me ask you this: did you enjoy the match? Like, was it fun? Like, were you entertained?
Well, I just have one thing to say. B team, B team.
All right, the main thing that I wanted to ask you about from the show. So the night that you were there, I was actually DJing my first ever bar mitzvah, but that's a vlog for another channel. And you sent me
How many
a text
channels
message.
do you have?
Too many. So
You're,
you sent
you're,
me.
you're the rapper, the podcaster about wrestling, but also now about pop culture, but you're the radio guy, but you'll do skits, and I know you've done voice, animation, acting for me.
Well, all I can say is, what? The tricky Raiders.
Now you're
Yeah.
scratching the collector's bug itch.
That
and then
is
you want to...
strictly your fault.
Yeah, well, I blame the wrestling. You know what? I blame it on Mom.
Yeah, pretty much. She is the enabler. But I was getting
like
to.
you haven't followed her, too.
Yeah.
One time we went to a flea market, and Jeff's just so excited to go to this flea market that he's like, that's a giant M&M jar. I
Yep.
need it. Jeff, it's chipped. I could put M&Ms in there.
Because that's what one logical person would do, right?
Well, yes. I mean, it's a big M&M jar. It actually was pretty cool. Come back the next week. I'm like, how's that working out? Well, I bought a gigantic bag of M&Ms, but the bugs have gotten into it and are eating everything,
right.
and I'm
Hold
now at
on.
infestation.
Here's the thing. My old apartment was in a house that was built in the 1800s, and they had sugar ants, something fierce. So I had bought this, like Joe said, a giant bag of peanut M&Ms, because that's like my go-to snack. I filled that sucker to the tippy, and I went in there, and I dug in, and I grabbed a handful, and there were just hundreds and hundreds of ants crawling on my hand, down my arm. I was so pissed. I wanted to break the jar.
Well, you were making a handful of yard sale mistakes. I would say about half your purchases from that time period were gigantic busts.
Yeah,
He
you're
was
right.
buying N64 games that he didn't know too much about, and then he ended up buying a Japanese version of Diddy Kong Racing that he couldn't get to fit in his system. Then he bought a light up Red Bull sign that didn't end up working.
All right, let me jump back to the Diddy Kong real quick and defend myself here, okay? So I picked it up because I've heard amazing things about it, and I figure it's gotta be just like Mario Kart racing, but Donkey Kong people, right?
You are
Okay,
right,
so-
because I've heard most people put it in that Mario Kart Racing, Crash Bandicoot Team Racing. They put it up. Some people put it right in that top 3. So you did pick
So
a good game.
So here's the thing. I didn't really know the difference between Japanese games and American games, and you couldn't use them on different consoles and vice versa. Like, I didn't know that. Okay, so here's where things got shady with the guy that I had bought it from. I'm like, so this is going to work on, like, my Nintendo 64. Yes, I got it. I go to... It won't fit in the console, and I call Joe. I'm like, what's the deal? He goes, you bought a Japanese game. What do you expect? So I bring it to a store. I trade it in. The guy changes the carts. He changes the cases and sells it. And somebody can use it on their American console. I'm like, why didn't you just tell me that I could do that, asshole?
Well, because this place, I don't know, should we name drop them, even though we'll probably go back to some point to get more stuff from them.
I don't know, dude.
Jeff and the employee, they're not compatible people.
No.
Sometimes you expect customer service when you go to these places. Like, somebody who wants to sell a product goes out of their way to sell you the product. Not even be
Right.
particularly needy. Because I could see somebody being like, all right, this person has a million questions. What was your question that you asked when you wanted to buy a video game console?
So here's the thing, right? They say that the customer's always correct, but in this guy's mind, the customer isn't even there. So it wasn't a console, actually. I wanted to pick up I think I had already gotten the console, but it was the Super Nintendo controller that I was trying to buy from him.
And you didn't
And
want
it-
one of those bootleg ones.
No, I wanted like the real deal. Like I was like, I'll drop the money to have like the real feel. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at one in the glass case. Like I'm knocking on the glass case, and I go, I want to have that Super Nintendo controller. He goes, well, yeah, we don't have any. I'll have to wait until the owner comes back. And I go, no. Knocked again on the glass. I'm like, I'm pointing right at it. I'm like, this one right here. He goes, yeah, we just don't have any. And I said, you're not even here with me right now. I want this one. I seriously was about to lose my flipping mind, dude.
And with
It
this
was-
place, it's not one of those stores where like you're getting a great deal or it's out in the open. This is
No, no.
legit marked up in a
Yep.
glass case for probably
eBay prices.
eBay price, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what? At the time, if you're in a pinch, fine. I'm the kind of guy, and I think Jeff is too, is that I will take the extra few bucks hit to just have it. Okay.
Convenience. It's right there.
I'm not trying to be like the Game Chasers or any of these other shows where I want to get the best deal. I totally see the value in it. But when you factor in gas and just like wanting to have something or the experience, fine. If the thing is in the case, you would expect that somebody would be like, oh yeah, this is
Oh.
a store. I sell things.
He was just like, yeah, peace and love, man. Yeah, I don't have it, man.
Well, I
No,
mean,
man.
and that sort of brings me in, like, the other thing we both wanted to do this weekend was scratch the itch of picking up more retro stuff. And, like, you know, the Strange Main store,
Yeah, man, that has
So-
some strange stuff.
it really does. It's a lot of it's tapes and records, but there's,
Yeah.
like, I basically think they take anything at this point. But half their store is filled with display pieces that you're like, can I buy that? No.
No, that's not for sale.
So, like, I see this 1980s or something stuffed Wolfman doll, and I'm kind of wanting to get more Halloween stuff. And I'm like, all right, so I've already spent a couple bucks here. What's the price on that thing? Oh, that's not for sale.
Yeah, you
There's
can't
like,
have that.
There's like 3 of us that run the store, and we don't know each other's prices. Okay. Thank you.
Nobody wants to sell anything. Like, you literally have cash in your hand, and you're trying to give it to them. They won't take it. I don't understand. Like, this is my hard-earned money, and I want to spend it here.
So do you think it's like a sign from the universe almost when the person comes back and doesn't want to sell it? Because I was thinking like after, I'm like, all right, so what if he would have told me that Wolfman's $25? That wouldn't have been so far out of the realm that I wouldn't have justified buying it, because after parking and WWE stuff and food
Yeah.
all day, clearly my wallet's already bleeding and crying out for help.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have just said, well, screw it, it's like 30 years old and it's awesome. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
I want? So for him not to throw out a number, I feel like I saved myself $30 for something I really didn't need.
Yeah, but that's just ridiculous, man. Like, the price is the price. Come on, right?
Yeah.
All right, but we got a little bit off track, jumping into talking about your adventure out finding this stuff in these retro shops. But you also sent me out to retro shops as well, and I want to dive into that because I have kind of like a haul that is almost as big as like episode 1, and
So
I don't know if this is gonna transform this podcast into like a wrestling figure podcast, but I don't know. We both enjoy this stuff, so
well, I guess at this point in this pop culture paradise, we're making our own enjoyment. So I just take it during this period, if this podcast goes on a while, that it's Jeff's bone cruncher phase,
yeah.
to the point where he
it
either gets
is.
all the bone crunchers he wants or he burns out. We don't know.
Yeah.
But
And me and you have actually been talking. Maybe I sell you all my loose bone crunchers so I can then try to refine them in the package.
and here's the thing, I totally need to. I just want to show the audience the example of what I noticed from my bone crunchers. They have all, well, so back in the day when these things chipped paint, a lot of it was black. So
Oh yeah.
we're just thinking, all right, well, I guess you could always get a Sharpie. Well,
yeah, the most logical choice, right?
I mean, a Sharpie's black, and what is it really made out of? There's more blue ink. Then you put it away, and it scuffs, and it runs, and then you get it. So you get. Oh, let me show it to the camera here. Look at this.
You see, the problem is, all right, the bone crunchers are like 90% rubber. So the marker just spreads off onto one figure in your box or your bin, and then it goes to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and they're all ruined.
Yeah. So basically, anything I've kept since childhood that is a wrestling figure, it is looking rough. The Titantrons and the real scans, those are all right.
Yeah.
The LJNs have never looked all right. Can I show you this LJN that
Dude,
I
the
have?
LJNs pretty much came out of the box screwed up.
Look at this Macho Man.
All right, well, one, he's missing a hand.
All right. So what would it look like if Macho Man went outside to do a little work in the sun?
Oh my god.
Macho has a
dude.
farmer's tan.
No, dude, he has third-degree burns on his back, bro. What did you do to him?
Oh yeah, Macho Madness going in and saving little kids from having their house burned down. But
That's outrageous, bro.
so they've never looked good. And that kind of led me to, I wanted to broadcast how bad these things can turn out if you leave them alone for a while. B,
Yeah.
I wanted to show the Major Wrestling Brothers podcast some of our creations, so I had to pull those out.
Yeah.
But C, your enthusiasm for Bone Crunchers has now made me want to go back and get clean copies of these and then put them on
Yeah.
my figure display, which honestly I have no idea where I could find any more room.
Dude, you
Without-
don't have any.
No, it's so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think at this point I'm going to have to buy those Bone Crunchers off you. You have, because he's got this big tin, not tin, what, a tin when
It's like one of those
anything.
like plastic, one of
Totes.
those plastic bins you'll buy at Walmart. Yeah, like a tote, like if you were to
And the-
move like I did.
Yeah, and the tote has a bunch of wrestling figures that you bought off your sister's boyfriend at the time.
Yep.
And all these guys are super clean, like nobody ever played with them. So
Yeah.
already the concept is way foreign to myself and to you.
Yeah.
Like, where are the arms being re-glued back on, or this monstrosity, you remember him?
I don't understand what he was supposed to be.
Flash,
He has white,
Flash-
he has white hands.
he's a businessman.
Yeah, he's something.
And then we have this guy, if you want to remember him, and also I'm pretty sure you tried to forget him.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't. All right, so that was like Bradshaw's body with like Thrasher's face, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with the assless chaps. That's classy.
And then
You mentioned about our customs, and you're showing some of them right now. I can't believe you have these still. But I think my favorite custom we ever did was our Jeff Hardy.
Oh, and you know what? One day I took all these broken figures and customs and things that were just falling apart, and I was filming for my animation special that I used to do called Joe's Dumb Show. If you can look, I think I pull them offline or online because they're not well animated, but the concept is there. It was like if I had a talk show with celebrities, and one of the ones was called Jerry Seinfeld's 4th of July, where him and I have a conversation about what we did for 4th of July, and I reveal that I trapped a bunch of people and murdered them. And what my murder footage was of me sticking a bunch of broken wrestlers in a fire pit
Why?
and setting off a ton of fireworks. And one of my sister's favorite stories is the neighbor at the time flipped out because me and my cousin Nikki were out there doing this, and it's just burning plastic up in the air. And
it stinks so bad.
Yes, and he runs over and starts screaming, "My kids could be breathing this!" And his sister goes, "Well, you should have just said, 'My Nikki is breathing this.'"
Yeah.
And I clearly don't care about his well-being. So there is footage of all these wrestlers just slowly melting, and he might be in there. But I did save your favorite, Rikishi
All right, so
Zuna.
this was Joe says, "Hey man, I think I have a Rikishi for us now. Oh, really? Like, what did you do? Oh, I took some sort of yellow, like, acrylic paint, and I just painted up Yokozuna, so now he just has blonde hair. It is so bad. So bad.
He looks like he got into some custard pie. Just
He did.
He's like, I don't care as long as I can eat it. I know, and it doesn't even like. It didn't even fully yellow. You still see black streaks. It looks like that
No.
time that you went to Scotty Too Hottie to your costume party.
Dude, that was fire. But I still took second place. That was bullshit.
You want to let it go at any point?
Dude, I will never let that go. That was the sweetest outfit. I had Tim do the custom pants for me with like the graffiti paint. I had the top hat with the hair. I bleached my hair blonde for an 8th grade Halloween contest. That I lost.
Did you get a picture of yourself as Scotty Too Hottie?
You know what? I'm sure there's somewhere. I'd have to call up my ma.
Because I have a picture from like a week or two after when the hair dye went wrong.
Yeah,
And
it
then
started to go orange.
Yeah, so it is. We had to go to the island. My mom's friend had something, and I was like, Jeff, you want to come along? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Jeff was more than
Anything
happy to
from
get
home.
away from home. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of us just hanging out the dock, both doing the DX crotch chop, and you have the orangest hair that I could. You like Garfield's hair.
Yeah, it would look ridiculous.
You said you picked up some bone crunchers.
I did. I still remind me to circle back and ask you about the text you sent me Saturday night, okay?
Okay.
But I do want to jump in. My bone crunchers itch is in full effect right now. And
I can get some
I got
calamine
a
lotion for
mini
that.
haul. You haven't seen any of these yet.
Okay.
So I'm pretty pumped for you to see what I've picked up.
All right.
Bin number 1, or bag number 1 per se. We got ourselves nothing too special. It's like a Stone Cold Steve Austin shotgun Saturday night kind of deal.
All right.
I picked it up. It's in like great shape. I got it for $3.
So here's the problem we had earlier is that I was talking about how the markers got all over all these figures. Every Stone Cold that I have has this terrible black marker and black scuff all around his head.
Yeah, I was gonna say it gets on his bald head.
So he basically has Rogaine actually going. But one of them also is that Stone Cold that you got last week.
yeah,
And it's the remains of what was the Brian Christopher figure or the Scotty or whatever we did the customs of one time.
yeah.
And so he's got orange all around his head.
This is lousy. This one I was pretty pumped about. And again, like a lot of these cards are in great shape. This is Ringside Collection Series 2, Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
This one's kind of sweet.
I was jealous you had that because I never saw that thing in stores. Because I know the rest of that set is Slaughter and Cornette.
Cornette,
And
Jim Ross,
Cameraman?
Vince, and the ref. No,
And-
Cameraman isn't in this one, but
Okay.
Jim Ross is, yeah.
So, like, I had all the other ones, but I never saw that one. And then when you got that tote with the wrestling figures, one of the very first ones I saw in there was that Honky Tonk Man. I'm like, how the hell did everybody have this but me? And I was the
Yeah.
junkie at the time.
Now, I mean, that one isn't technically a bone cruncher, though, right?
No, that's a barely move figure.
I was gonna say, like, it's all like super hard plastic.
Like, I
but
probably would have
it's
hated
like around
that
that
figure.
same time, so to me, it's kind of cool.
Like, I would have hated using that figure,
Yeah,
but I also would have loved it. It's kind of like that Luna figure. Just to have that person and another wrestler at the time, I would have been pumped about. But to actually use, no. It's like with the Hasbro, the Rick Rude, the headlock. And you're
Yeah.
like, this sucked. And the Ric Flair one's like that, too. It sucked.
yeah.
Or,
All right, so this next one here, you actually know about this one because I sent you a picture of it while I was at the store. But this one was special to me because I was actually at WrestleMania 14, and this is the Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 14,
I'm jealous that
which
you
I
got that
thought
in the
was
box.
just super, super cool. Inboxed, it's in great shape. He's got the white tights, he's got the vest, and you get the special, Shawn Michaels, just like WrestleMania 14 standee in the back there.
So basically, the reason I have to buy all new Hasbro's is, look, I have that Shawn Michaels, and my aunt found another one, and she just
Where's
mailed
the
me
vest?
it.
Did
But
she?
this Shawn Michaels, his head's glued on.
Yeah, that happened a lot with those, man. Well, I mean, all right, so here's the thing. The Jakks figures, they're not incredible by any means. Like, these were definitely made to be mass-produced.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know, for some reason, they're just, I don't know, they're kind of special to me. I didn't have a lot of these ones when I was younger, you know? I definitely had my fair share of the Trons and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember you having more of these than I did.
Oh, I had a crazy amount of these ones, and
Joe's parents were rich. Mine weren't.
bullshit. Comfortable, and
Yeah.
they saved. Hardly rich, but also my mom's a collector too, so she got hype about all this stuff.
So Joe gets it from his mama.
Yeah, and by extension, it goes over to you because you've spent so much
Yeah.
time at this house. But
yeah.
like you know what? One of the ones I went down to Boston recently,
Boston.
and you know that big building where it has all the different food, like all the
Yep.
rest. I said one of the first things Jeff had me do was we had a King Middle School field trip, and 6th grade. So it's in that weird area about action figures. Everyone's too cool now.
Yeah.
But just
Not
like,
us.
dude, you got to fill up your backpack. You got to have a bunch of matches down in the middle of this place during the field trip. So I bring 20 action figures down there. The two of us are just freaking having action figure matches in 6th grade,
yeah.
right in the middle of a Boston field trip.
Why
right,
not, right?
Right in the middle while everybody else is like, I'm going to spend my money to go get pizza at this restaurant. And
Yeah, and we're
like, I think it was like a aquarium trip
Yeah.
or like a historical tours thing. But we're like,
It's a super basic kind of deal. This one, I wasn't so happy that I got, but it is part of the Bone Crunchers collection. But it's one of these weird ones.
that's when
the
you have an addiction. You buy
slammers.
something you're not even happy that you bought.
Yeah, this is a slammer. This is Bret Hart. He has that thing on his back for him to do a body slam of some kind.
Yep.
But he has the glasses, which I thought were really cool. I like that part about it.
You know how
And,
body slams go like this.
Joe, this one I might be the most proud of
All right, what is this?
because I scored this. Look at the price. I scored this for $2.
Oh, and I already can see the box is really old.
Yeah, it is a Superstar Series 3 Ahmed Johnson.
Oh.
And you know how big of an Ahmed fan that I was.
Well, I know one of your favorite tapes to fall asleep to is the WWF Action Zone.
Yeah, there's just so much action.
Well, Ahmed Johnson, right before he does his body splash.
Don't-
Who makes that
sound,
noise?
that sound you just made looks like his face. $2, Superstar Series 3, Psycho Sid.
Like what? All right, for $1 million, what is the face that Sid makes when he's caught jerking off?
Probably this one. And this is interesting because he has on the blue trunks. So this is like Sid Justice, isn't it?
No, because he didn't come back as
Well-
any of that.
I know, but that's the color he wore when he was Sid Justice was blue.
What if he had his own show where it was Psycho Sid just out there serving the law enforcement?
I'd be all about that.
And then he picks up his victim as he's running away, power bombs, and he just goes, "You just got served, Sid Justice."
Yeah. And this has the KB Toys sticker on it. Remember that spot, KB?
KB Toys was the absolute best. Like I liked it better than Toys R Us because it was so white trashy, and you could buy mad toys for cheap because they'd overbuy. It's not fresh on
Dude.
card anymore.
Am I gonna have to let Vader breathe right now?
Through the mask?
No, am I gonna have to open him?
No.
It's already cracked open.
Yeah, you said the same thing about my starting lineups when I was younger.
Okay, so here's Vader. And this was the, I don't know, special edition Series 1. Yeah, this was my most bizarre pickup, and I felt like a little bit of a pervert, and you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they talk about Stomp all the time on the Major Wrestling Brothers podcast, so I think you had to get Stomp. I had the first 2 series where they weren't in... This one's in space, right?
Yeah, this was Stomp Series 3, and here's... it's just Sable, and you know how much I love Sable. I got this one for $5.
So in the very first podcast, I talked about how Jeff had his Sable Bomb shirt. But the other thing I remember is in Jeff's bedroom was a gigantic Sable poster.
Yeah.
And if I'm guessing, did I get you that for your birthday?
I think you did, and if you remember even more, I had the Sable VHS as well.
I got you that Sable poster, and I got you the Orgasmo VHS, which was
Dude, we should not have been watching Orgasmo at 12.
NC-17. And I remember convincing my mom. We went into Strawberries when they were around, which was like a record CD VHS distribution store.
Yeah.
And being like, "Oh man, Jeff was telling you about this movie. It's the funniest movie. I'm gonna get it for him."
Okay.
Yeah, no, my parents never gave a shit about ratings about anything. And I know that Strawberries was super strict about stuff, because I went to buy, I want to say, like, I can't even remember what the CD was at the time. And they were like, "Oh, parental advisory, you can't buy it." All right, I'm just going to go to Newberry's next door.
Yeah. Joe,
Yes.
something's wrong with this.
All right, so Jeff really needed a Lex Luger vibrator.
No.
He was
Tell
jealous
me
that I had a Lex
okay,
Luger
hold on.
vibrator.
Tell me who this is.
The total package, Lex Luger.
Okay.
God!
You at home, tell me who this is. Okay?
Fabio.
But look who it says it is on the card.
The Taskmaster?
Yes, it even has the Taskmaster's name on the bottom. It says the Taskmaster on the card. Dude, is this some sort of like box screw up that I own?
Can you afford to pay me to correctly?
God!
It says the Taskmaster. I didn't even read that. I immediately recognize this is Lex Luger.
What kind of disgusting, despicable lack of respect.
This is not the Taskmaster, Joe.
No.
What is going on here? Look. Yes, here's Lex Luger right here on the back. Same picture. That's him.
Yeah.
Why is it saying, and look, the Taskmaster is wearing all red on the back in the series that he's in. This is Lex Luger in a Taskmaster box. What is that about?
Yeah!
I don't know.
I don't know!
That's so weird to me. Is that weird to you, though?
That's super weird. I know you were super excited about it, and I had all these guys, and I remember you used to think they were the weirdest figures ever, because they were.
And they were big vibrators.
It's like, I think everyone's always questioned why WCW decided that kids wanted to play with vibrating wrestlers.
I'm going to need you to, like, Google that and, like, see if that's, like, a common thing. Because that, I don't know, that doesn't seem normal to me. I mean, I can see that happening in, like, a factory somewhere, but that doesn't seem like a normal thing, right?
No.
That's weird.
Clearly, somebody wasn't putting much effort into their WCW vibrators.
No.
Well, I remember when that thing first came out, I was super excited because...
Man, where do they get this stuff?
Where do they get this stuff?
But I remember having the WCW San Francisco toys, and with those, there was no Lex Luger at the time, and Lex Luger, as you know, has always been one of my absolute favorite wrestlers.
I've never understood it either. I never got why you loved Lex so much. I thought he was cool during, like, the Lex Express because he came out of a helicopter and body slammed Yokozuna. Like, that's one of the most badass things in wrestling history. But I don't know. And you were a big WCW guy too. So I think that kind of played a big factor into you really being into Lex. I never got it.
With me, my first real exposures of wrestling was at WCW Saturday Night, which I've told you so many times. Like that was my thing. It was 2 hours. They used to have so many guys on there. It was one of those times you're not in school. You have all day to do whatever you want. And one of the first action figures I ever got from wrestling wise, not ever, was a WCW San Francisco, the Hulk Hogan Series 1. And then, like, oh yeah, well, you couldn't do anything because it was just...
Yeah, and it was all, like, solid, right?
Yeah, all those figures were terrible, mostly. But then I got, like, the Sting, and so, like, WCW was my thing because I had the figures. Yeah. And I always thought Lex was one of these guys that he portrayed himself like he was the best. So
did he portray himself like he was like a total package?
You would almost say he was a complete narcissist.
Ah, gotcha.
But every time he was on TV, he'd always win. And like I was a massive Sting fan too, so he was Sting's boy. So he's my boy. Like that's the thing. And then right at that time period, the NWO was kicking everybody's ass, and I liked Sting, but Sting disappeared. I grew up not liking the Four Horsemen, so I couldn't trust the Four Horsemen as a mark.
Yeah.
Hogan turned on me.
Dude, that needs to be its own podcast.
I know,
one
you
day.
and Dave want me to tell that story, and I will.
Good.
About the time Hulk Hogan turned and how I reacted.
We need to save it. You're talking about WCW action figures, and I picked you up another gift.
All right. Well, you're finding that. Basically, I thought when Lex Luger went up against the NWO, and that he was the first guy to beat Hogan clean, and he knocked out every NWO member to do it, and everybody
because he had a metal plate in his elbow.
Yeah, and everybody went crazy. I was like, this guy is the man. I love this guy.
All right, well, yeah, it would have been a great tie-in if this were Lex Luger, but it's not. It's Diamond Dallas Page versus Kevin Nash. And if you remember in episode 1, when I picked you up those street racers,
yes,
here's another one of those. If you can actually see in there, I don't know.
Why would they make street racers? But then again, I'm buying them now, so I'm giving you the money for them.
Yeah, so add this to your tally. This was $2.
Big spender.
Yeah. Okay, this one I was pretty pumped about. This is Manager Series 1, and I was surprised there was no Cornette in Manager Series 1. When did he come into the Bone Crunchers line?
I think that was that one that you had earlier with Honky Tonk Man, because...
Okay, so he was in Series 3 then?
Because I don't know if he ever had a 2-pack, because I think by the time
he managed Yokozuna
with Yoko and Owen, Bulldog, and those guys, and Vader. I don't think he was ever in the packs with them, was he?
Maybe not.
Because I think they had broken off just by the end of that, because there was that line between Bendham's and then Jack's.
So here is Mankind and Paul Bearer. And I thought this one was kind of cool because, Paul Bearer turned on Undertaker. And I've always loved that Boiler Room Brawl match. So I just thought this one was pretty sweet. I got this for $8.
Do you remember how weird that Boiler Room was, though, back in the time?
Yeah, and it comes with the urn. I like that a lot.
Like, I have a WWF magazine here, because probably from 96 is when I used to buy the magazines to then get pay-per-view recaps when they would do those.
I got a bunch of old ones in my closet.
Yes, we have to do one about those someday. But I remember with that, too, it was way more violent. There was no commentary. And Mankind won. And you would always expect The Undertaker to win.
Oh, yeah.
And you would have thought, like, Mankind was just like Kama and Undertaker and people like that before him that would lose.
Well, I mean, you also thought that Taker would win his Buried Alive match. I mean, he is the Undertaker. All right, so this one right here, you actually know about this one. I sent you a picture of this one.
And sometimes it's scary how, in sync not in sync, though, sometimes you feel like a Joey Fatone. But when you sent me this, and I was like, how the heck is this like the figure you picked up? When I was looking it up the night before to replace it myself and finding like $30 price tags.
Yeah, I found it for $8. This completed my WWF Manager's Bone Crunching Action Manager Series 1. This is Bob Backlund and the Sultan, a.k.a. Junior, a.k.a. Rikishi Fatu. This is kind of a cool set, especially for $8.
Yeah, and like at the time, were you really expecting someone to get, like the Sultan to get a figure? And I mean, do you have Bob Backlund have a figure?
I can tell you that I never had either of these, ever.
Well,
So that's kind of cool to me.
the thing is, I did have both of those, and I have no idea where the Sultan went. Sometimes figures just disappear.
What happened to Backlund? Did you lose him at the Bear River?
All right, so up when I was younger, up at our camp, there's a river, and my sister and I would make it a point to take all the wrestling figures and Barbies, everything we own pretty much down to this river, and basically they'd be like on boat rides, and they'd have a buddy system, and there was class systems, and so like there'd be 10 at a time, and then they go on these kickboards, but they'd be on boats, and they could travel down river. Well, as you know, some wrestling figures can float, and other ones can't.
Yeah, some don't.
And Bob Backlund can float. But
Yep.
what Bob Backlund
You know
can't
who can't, Joe?
Buff Bagwell.
Hasbro Earthquake.
Oh, you have a yes. So this we're gonna go into this actually, but Bob Backlund cannot float. Well, Bob Backlund can float. What am I saying?
I don't know.
Bob Backlund
Yeah.
can float, but what Bob Backlund can't take is you throwing a rock, throwing a rock at him, hitting him direct in the head, separating head from body. So they're taking off two different parts down a current, and we never find the head again. Bob Backlund.
So you decided to put Flash Funk's head on.
So when we did our action figure pay-per-views years later, you have all these heads and arm pieces, and, well, they match. So you said you had a story. Earthquake, right? Went down the...
Yeah, Earthquake. I lost him at Dundee Park in Wyndham when I was a kid, and I remember I cried.
Now, did you, like, go up and down the Dundee Park to find him? I feel like he washed up somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because when I had Bendy figures, one time, I think it was a Mabel one, went missing when I was hanging with my friend Atticus at the time. And
Yep.
when we found him, he was, I would say, 200, 300 yards down the beach.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, which is weird because Bendham's, like, they're just hard rubber that doesn't freaking, it doesn't float, or it shouldn't have that much of a pull to it. But then the other one we lost in the Bear River was a Buff Bagwell figure. So it's been a running joke forever that those old 99, 98 WCW Buff Bagwell, the one that came in the wheelchair, he
Yep.
is gone.
He's done.
When I think I spent about an hour and a half in ice cold river water trying to find this guy. I think he got buried under a rock, and, well, had to buy a new one.
Yeah, I lost him, like I said, Dundee Park on the dock. And I remember my dad even swam all the way across the beach to see if he washed up on the other shore on the opposite end.
Mm-hmm.
Which was like way further than I'd ever go for my kid if I had one. I would have said, hey, tough luck, kid. Like, get over it, you know? So I actually made a mistake that I have to correct. I said that last one with Backlund and the Sultan finished my Manager's 1 series, but that was only half of it. So I got Clarence Mason here, and one of Joe's favorite figures, Crush.
Well, you know, you need all those Crush figures. You bought a Crush last week. No,
I
you bought
didn't,
Chains.
did I? Yeah, see, they're not the same, bro. All right, this figure, I didn't show you the box or anything, but I sent you a picture of the figure's face.
Okay.
And I need you to zoom in on this. All
We
right?
will, because
First,
if you've ever wondered about an action figure having a Coke problem, this is the one.
this is the one right here. You need to see.
They didn't call him Wild Man
This
for
is
no
Mark-
reason.
Yeah, this is Mark Marrow and Sable. You know how big of a Sable fan I was. And Sable's like moving around in here.
Those were crappy
I don't like
figures
that.
still.
Oh, they are. A lot of these are, honestly, but
Well, the girl figures especially because
mi-
they're
I
just like
mean-
all body and then 2 arms.
yeah, and the boobs aren't even the same size, which I guess is actual science, but this one you don't know about. And I know you're going to be super jealous, bro.
I'm gonna be super jealous.
Yep, because if you look on, this is a special edition 4-set. Brett, Vince. All right, I do have another Sid. I think that makes 3 Psycho Sids. But
the real Psycho?
the fourth, right? The fourth, you're a girl, Sunny.
Dude, I loved this Sunny. This one, and then there's a black skirt, white top Sunny.
Yeah, that one's right here on the back of the box. Yep.
And I would say that it was mine, but at a certain point, my sister wanted to have her own action figure federation, so she took all the Sunnies that I had and made them commissioners. And was it?
Did she?
Yeah, except
That sounds like a Chrissy
that is
move.
a total Chrissy move. But then again, in a total Joe move, I basically gave her all my doubles and shittier figures.
Oh, you mean like what you did for me? Thanks, bro. You're a real pal.
Hey, those Ninja Turtles I gave you were in good quality.
No, they were.
But I also went picking stuff up at the retro store.
What, dude? You found something? You didn't tell me.
All
you
right,
found
so I
something.
did find something at Strange Maine, which, unfortunately, Coast City was a complete bust.
Yeah, they kind of like typically have same old, same old.
Which is a shame because they're like one of the best run. They're one of
Yeah.
the. They're the cleanest. They're the most well put together, and oftentimes they do have good stuff. Like I feel like they have scouts that they send out there to find things. And then I went to the other guy, your favorite, but they were closing up by the time I arrived, which was 30 minutes early,
I
of
hate 'em.
course. So
Yeah.
clearly they were working real hard. But it didn't look like they had
yeah.
anything new when I peeked through the window.
Well, we just don't have it.
No. we don't,
No,
we
we
don't
don't
even sell
have that.
merch.
No, we don't.
So
have
then I went
that.
up to Strange Maine, and they were closed for lunch or something
Yeah.
like that.
You said they were closed, but they weren't. But you couldn't get
Yeah.
in.
So it's really confusing when you go to somebody's glass door and it says, "Come right on in. Sorry, we'll be back in just a moment." And on the right side is a light up sign that says "Open."
Open.
So I'm like, all right, which one supersedes which? Like, are you open? Are you out back? Door's not opening. All right, fine. You're not there. I'm going to text, give Jeff sort of an update of what's going on. And obviously, if somebody knows, podcasts don't happen in a vacuum, and ideas. And if you're just friends and you also would both go into wrestling shows, which we'll talk about, there's plenty of thoughts and texts going on. And then I watch another couple walk up. They want to come in. Closed. And I'm like, all right, it's not just me pounding on somebody's door downtown Portland looking crazy like everybody else.
Yeah.
I look through the window, and you know Strange Maine, they always have that like display in their window of a bunch of weird stuff that they buy.
On the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one time, and I had a picture of it, it was Hulk Hogan
What?
on the beach with like some
Hulk Hogan, brother. Hulk Rogan.
with like a hand coming out.
Didn't work for me, dude.
Brother, I still have a U-shaped hairline. A hand coming out of the ground, and Toxic Avenger. And I think I
Yeah.
Instagrammed it like, oh, this sounds like a sweet day at the beach. Hogan and Toxie hanging out. But anyway, I look up in the window. First thing I see fits my description of what I need to buy for stupidness. It is a Ninja Turtle carrying bag.
Dude.
And it's sports related. It doesn't even say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just by itself. It says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sports.
What?
And look at friggin' Leo, I think he's the running back with his deflated football. So obviously he's a Patriot.
Oh.
And then we have friggin' Bebop getting demolished. But I was like, all right, whatever the price is, just because Jeff wants me to find something cool, this has to be done.
Yeah. Is that like lunchbox size?
I think it's gym bag. It's gym bag size, and it's got like a it's got like a
Really?
plastic contraption in here too.
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah, it's a lot bigger now that I see
Yeah.
it that way.
But $5. I was like, all right. Plus,
Dude, that's a good find.
Plus, it gave me something to carry around things for the rest of the night. Then I go over to the corner, and I saw a starting lineup.
God.
And so the thing with starting lineups is you never know if, like, it's players who don't mean anything. But I look up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's Red Sox, and that looks like a shortstop. That's friggin' Noma Garcia Parra. And I had to get it. And it was like
Yeah, that's pretty
$6.
sweet.
All right, and 2 players. Jim Edmonds. I mean, you're a baseball guy. You like Jim Edmonds.
Are those the... All right, so you got those 2 things.
No, not just that. So then I go over into the corner, and I'm like, well, I remember these books being here a couple of visits before, and I kicked myself for not buying them. And then when I went with you when you were in town, I didn't see it. So I checked one more time, and they were there. I picked up mid-'90s Disney adventure books.
Dude, I don't know that I've ever seen... What are those?
Dude, so back in the day, you could get a subscription to these. And
They look like TV guys.
they were like... So they'd have like this mashup cover. So like
Yeah.
Iago with dinosaurs. It's such a thing for the time period. But then like
real talk, like that covers everything that I love. Right there.
I'm gonna show you some of these other ones. But then you get like comics in it, so you get Darkwing Duck.
Dude, what? I never know about
You get
these.
like an article about the upcoming like movies of the time period or video games.
Wow.
This guy right here, he's gonna teach you about how to make a dummy.
Oh.
He's the wax wizard.
Hey, what's on the back of that one?
On the back, Aladdin for the Tiger Electronic.
Don't tell me you ever owned that.
I had so many of these. I might actually own this. I'm an Aladdin mark.
Dude.
So I'm gonna show you another one that's super of the time period.
VR Troopers.
And in the corner, I have no. Oh, you can meet the TV stars of VR Troopers.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Turn that around again to the back and hold it up to your face. No, hold on. I think we found our thumbnail. Dude, that looks ridiculous.
Pull it. All right, wait. What is Twizzlers up to? If I just said, "Hey, I want you to pull it, peel it, play with it, and eat it up,"
I'd say you're watching movies that are inappropriate, or it's a ripoff of Bop It.
I'd say, "Whoop whoop." Oh, and look at this. You can get tips on how to rock at NBA Jam. And then you can get Angels in the Outfield, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, on VHS. Clamshell.
You know what? I'm not really a fan of baseball, but I'll tell you, I love baseball movies.
All right, future episode, we are going to rank the best baseball movies from the 90s.
Okay, I'm glad you put a time period
Okay.
on it. Now,
Hold on. It's your...
show me one more.
All right,
Show
I'm
me
going to show
one
you
more.
2 that I don't think are as important. Hunchback and Bart and Lisa.
Yeah.
But talk about this mashup. Dean Cain with the Beagle Boys.
Wait, are they from Darkwing Duck?
DuckTales.
DuckTales, that's right. Okay,
And
yeah.
then there's an ad for Aladdin on the Super Nintendo on the back. What a...
Which is one of the best games
And
ever.
what's the slogan here? This is going to be the podcast episode subtitle.
Angle it down a little so I can see it. More fun than a barrel of a booze.
Ah!
Yeah, that's amazing. So I'm glad you showed me all those.
Oh,
Now
hold
you
up.
were able to carry those.
Luckily, I had the bag. And with the bag, I went in their little 50-cent bin.
Yeah,
So I picked up a little Yoshi.
you got it. Yoshi's the best.
And then Earl from Dinosaurs.
I was gonna say, is that Earl from freaking Dinosaurs? What does he look into?
So these were like toys from McDonald's or Burger King.
6 Dynamotion powered dinosaur toys like Earl and everybody's favorite,
Let me guess.
Baby.
So you could like squeeze in the back here, and you can
Oh,
see him
sweet.
mess with his pail. And I have Sinclair, and I have the daughter, and I don't know. My mom was picking these things up. She feeds his goddamn addiction. And then
Dude, she
finally,
does.
I found a Fruit Loops car.
All right, that is that's where we got to draw the line.
A Fruit Loops racing car.
What do you think that came from?
You know, I think it was when, like, you could use point totals. Did you ever...
I was gonna
Did you ever
say,
do
like,
those mail-aways for Kool-Aid? Where if you got a certain amount
no,
of Kool-Aid...
but I know you did.
Yes. When you got a certain amount of... Kool-Aid swag was cool because it was like, if you drank a lot of Kool-Aid and then you cut out the little parts, you get points, and then you could get specialized items from a catalog.
What's the difference in Kool-Aid points and Marlboro points?
One gives you diabetes and the other gives you cancer.
Hey, there you go. That's ridiculous to me. I just realized that. Like, we have been being trained to try to smoke enough packs to buy the kayak since we were like 10.
And it's like, where did it start? Well, I wanted the specialized Kool-Aid pouring jar that looked like the Kool-Aid Man, so I drank all the
Yeah.
Kool-Aid I could. And then I also got a car that has Kool-Aid logo on it. And you could get a specialized Kool-Aid skipper from Barbie and from the Barbies line there.
Like okay, Skipper.
I think
gotcha.
what Skipper is Barbie's niece
Yeah.
or something like that. But it would have like a personalized Kool-Aid outfit from Kool-Aid points.
All right, so I'm glad you mentioned that you were able to carry all that stuff in the Turtles gym bag because I wanted to circle back around like I mentioned at the beginning. You also got to carry your Sting mask in there, and I wanted to bring up that text message you sent me because I have been wearing you down about this girl for a long time.
Okay, well, and I think you finally succeeded. So
Yeah?
the first thing is, yes, I did pick up a Sting mask because I do know how much you love that my camera likes to autofocus on my Ultimate Warrior mask here.
Yeah.
I got a Macho Man over in the corner. I think I pulled out a Power Rangers Red Ranger one earlier to put somewhere. But I figured
Sting.
$5 for a Sting mask is pretty cool. It reminds me of...
Can't beat that.
Remember the one where the multiple Stings came out? Well,
Do you remember when Sting in face paint wore his own mask?
yeah, that's from the... Yeah. Well, anyway, $5. I was like, all right, I'm going to pick me up a Sting mask. Why
Yeah.
not? And then the other thing I had to pick up because I just... You know what? Let the wallet bleed.
Yeah, at that point.
When you're at the event, gotta get the program.
Now, what was it about the program you didn't like? You were telling me.
Well, first thing I wanted to do, didn't care about the pictures. I just said, Fallout, 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 Fallout. That wasn't right. Fallout, Fallout. Okay, why is there nothing here? Oh, look, it opens up. What am I missing here?
Where are the matches?
Yeah. I've been collecting these things forever. Where the heck
Yeah.
are the friggin'... I want to know who's fighting who, even if it's, like, kind of off because somebody got injured and didn't show up.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have that as a keepsake. I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Nothing. $15, great pictures and everything, but nope. And then,
Yeah.
because I needed a shirt, and they gave you one of, like, 7 options.
Yeah.
One was for Rhonda, who wasn't there, even though she went to Bangor, or as she called it.
Bangor.
Yeah.
Rhonda.
Had to pick it up.
Yeah. Dude, that's dope.
Yeah. Whoa, I'm actually just noticing the logo on the back. That's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, that could also be, the name of the FX TV show coming back. You just don't know.
If somebody just goes, if like you were in the other room and you're shaving, and all of a sudden on the TV it just goes, this summer on FX, Justice has returned. The Shield. Vic Mackey is away from the desk and back at it again with a new crew, a new attitude.
Then it will go, bam, 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 bam. He's not a cop. He's Al Capone with a badge. Meow, 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 meow. But Lem, I had to, right, buddy? Meow, 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 meow. She just took the kids. Corinne, they're gone, Shane. Meow, 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 meow. This summer, the Shield revival. Is that what it's called?
Say yeah!
Is it Shield or Return for Justice? Not revival.
The Shield revival. It's
Dude, did they match up?
It's Chickless, Dawson, Wilder. facing up against their most say yeah, and then it's just like a montage of them all beating up people on the street.
Yeah, and then Vic is beat up by the B team.
And then Vic hands them over guns, and they're like, no guns, just fists.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting off track.
Well, yeah.
Tell them about
So
it.
I had to send you this message. The first match was Sasha Banks versus Ruby Riott of the Riott Squad. And I have never been a big Sasha Banks person. And I know when you're online, people just... There's a lot of people that will white knight any diva because they think that makes them, like, really noble or something. And I am as harsh on them as I would be about male wrestlers. I think if they're not good, they're not being good. If their storyline sucks, it sucks. It just... Hold them to the same standard. If that's what they're going for. I think that's more respectful. Yeah. With Sasha, I've always felt like she's playing a wrestler. She's a wrestler, but she's playing something, and I've never bought into it. And it finally struck me last night when I watched all the girls walking around in their Sasha Banks merchandise, Sasha Banks glasses, and then one of the girls in line with her Sasha Banks tights, and the tights were working for her.
How are you doing?
How you doing?
She was a legit boss, too.
No, yeah.
But I finally realized she is their John Cena. She is like the one that they vicariously live through because they want to be the boss. They want that empowerment that they feel from her. And I think they get it. And that crowd was so hype. I think I have a...
When that theme song hit, did they go nuts?
I have video of them just erupting for her. People just, they bought into everything she did. So it made the match with her and Ruby, like, people were invested in it. And actually, so the good and bad thing, I know you texted me about the show being unreal on the NWA side. And I think with Ring of Honor, they have the same thing where they can go balls to the wall because that's where they can make their money of how good the matches are. WWE, I think they just do it to be good, but to keep their players healthy. For the thing they make the most
safe.
So there was a lot of crowd play and chain wrestling and things like that nobody was going to kill themselves tonight. Even the guys who normally kill themselves. Which I enjoy, though. They were like Seth Rollins and guys like that. Even his stuff was just kind of like, I'm going to dive to the outside of the ring, but I'm not flipping. He did a suicide dive to the outside of the ring, and he basically landed on his feet.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you're not purposely falling over tonight when no cameras are really on you.
Yeah.
So Banks, I finally got. I realized that she's not for me. I'm a Charlotte, Becky. Like, I think they fit the mold more to what I think a wrestler is. But I finally got Banks, and why people are so hype on her. Anyway, that match broke down, and it became the Riott Squad came out. But here's what you're like, oh, you're following the players now again. You're back into it.
Yeah.
Not as observant as I thought I was. I watched the Riott Squad come out, and I texted her, and I'm like, the Riott Squad has come out to interfere now. Then Bayley came out, and Dana...
Pause real quick. You know what's funny? When you sent me that text, we had a 13-year-old boy at his bar mitzvah up in a chair, and everyone is just doing their thing for the hurrah, and it was hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Bayley and Dana Brooks came out. They stopped the Riott Squad. Then I'm watching the match go on because they made it a 3-on-3. And I'm like, wait a minute. That is not the Riott Squad. I just saw one of the girls come out with that hat, the conductor type hat, the sailor hat that Alicia Fox wears. And then I'm staring, and I'm like, wait a minute.
What?
Her shirt says crazy like a fox.
Huh.
Why would she wear Alicia Fox's merch? Wait a minute, that's Alicia Fox. You're an idiot, Joe. That's Alicia Fox. That's not the full Riott Squad. So then that match happens, and I gotta say, I was hyped to see Bayley. You know how much I love Bayley, and if I want to be one of those negative wrestling fans about how they ruin all my NXT people, I could go on forever about how they've messed up Bayley. But you know what? She's making her living, and she did a liner for your other podcast. So clearly she's having fun doing what she's doing. And when you think about complaining about how these guys are being booked, if they're not crying, maybe you shouldn't either for them. They're fine.
No.
I had one
Yeah.
with the Revival later when they lost to the B team, and you know how that would bug me.
Oh,
I just love the Revival so much, and I don't think they're getting a fair shake. But you know what? I don't think they're hurting, and they're having fun.
No,
and
they'll be all right.
and
Yeah.
I, at a certain point, started just being like, B team, go, 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 and
Yeah.
the crowd loved it. They were super over. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get that upset about it? I'll tell you what I was upset
Yeah.
about though. And you said you never need to hear me say this phrase again. What was the text I sent you?
Oh no, I'm not saying it. You're saying it. I'm not bringing that up.
All right. So I have seats back near the railway, and so I get to see all these guys super up close. Like during the entire night, Byron Sexton was like probably a couple inches away, so I could hear him getting all his directions of what he was supposed to do during the night. I got to shake Dana Brooks' hand, and like the one thing I definitely noticed was Jinder Mahal has a very hairy ass.
That's it. It's over. We're done. We've been canceled.
It's over.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm just glad that there wasn't a picture or a video attached to that text message.
No, my phone was dying by that point. Plus, you know, I figured you probably
Good.
didn't want a close-up of Jinder's hairy ass.
No, man.
Like, it looked like Razor Ramon's body hair. Jinder's right outside his
dude.
trunks.
It looked like Albert's back.
It looked like that Albert figure that I sent you.
Yeah, that's terrible.
At some point, it stopped being skin, and it was just Jinder. Jinder.
So I did get up close and personal with Jinder's butt, but I did get up close and personal with Jim Cornette at the NWA 70th anniversary show today. That was incredible. Just being able to meet Jim Cornette, but not only him. All right.
And this
Here's my-
this got me pumped as a WCW guy because
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I'm around wrestling, I have to talk WCW. And even,
Yeah.
what was the funny thing that I sent you? I said, how does WCW follow me to shows 15 years later? The match they showed in the Titantron was the Alliance versus Team WWE, even though
Yeah.
it really wasn't WCW by that point. It was still showing a WCW match 17 years later in an arena.
You're going to have to splice in my picture with these two guys, but here's the other one. I also got to meet Tony Schiavone. It was awesome. There he is, Joe. There's your boy. And the cool thing about meeting Cornette, all right, so I paid for the meet and greet, but I walk up to him and I go, yeah, Hulk Hogan, he's a household name, but so is Garbage. And Cornette picks right up from his old promo, and he goes, and that stinks when it gets old, too. And then I shook his hand, and we met each other, snapped a picture. It was awesome, dude. The show was really good, too. Cornette did commentary, so I kind of want to watch it back on the Fight Network and just to, like, hear him. But Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis tore the house down. 2 out of 3 falls match. Nick Aldis ended up beating him clean, took off with the title.
Which kind of has me hyped that I am now, like, I think I'm going to have to go to that Ring of Honor show because you've been telling me that
Yep.
that's the one you got to see these guys, and they're up here.
man.
So I gotta see Cody in person, which is funny because
Yeah.
when he was in WWE, he was just been part of the package, and I have no.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think you know what? I went.
Have you seen him live?
I'm trying to remember if. So there was a house show that happened the 27th or 28th of December in like 08 or 09. And
Yeah, he would have been there,
well,
right?
Him or Ted DiBiase Jr., one of the two was injured, and so they were tagging with Manu.
Oh, I remember that.
So
yeah.
I can't remember which one of them I didn't see. If it was Cody or Ted.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure.
But
Yeah, but Joe went to a wrestling show. I went to a wrestling show.
and I got my tweet about WWE in Portland on their little Titantron, and I was able to capture it on my phone for like half a second.
Dude, that's sweet.
I was like, these whippersnappers don't know what it's like to have their wrestling shows without little mini Titantron screens when you just would walk
Yeah.
out underneath the bleachers. and underneath the stairway, and you'd have a different, because the Civic Center now is that screens on the floor, and then they walk from the side into the ring. But when we were growing up, it was like how you'd watch Madison Square Garden, and that camera would be straight forward for the entranceway ramp.
You know, I haven't listened to a word you just said. I just realized you're wearing a Lex Luger shirt, and you told me how big of a Lex Luger fan you were earlier. I'm just realizing that.
So besides wrestling this weekend, I made a full day of letting my wallet just completely get annihilated. I made sure to go see Halloween 2018 in theaters. And I'm a big Halloween guy. Yeah. And
I wanted to go see that so bad.
I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to go see that thing because I didn't
know that you went to that. I'm kind of pissed about that. Honestly, I'm kind of mad right now.
Well, I'm going to challenge you to go see it because I have thoughts about this movie. So for Jeff, my name's Joe. This has been Pop Culture Paradise. And I just want to confirm this. Jeff, do you promise to go see this movie?
Hey, man. Promise.